Bulls Nation, today we had a game against the Philadelphia 76ers, and overall it was once again another game that I guess you could say is very predictable for the Chicago Bulls. Really bad quarters, then some really good quarters, and in the end this is something that's been going on for a while now, and once again the same old story. It really does feel like I'm watching the same game over and over and over again, just with a different team that we're playing against. So once again we're going to go into this game reaction. We're going to be talking about the Bulls versus the Philadelphia 76ers, and we'll be doing it in this video. Let's do it. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls versus Philadelphia 76ers game reaction. The Chicago Bulls, again, our season is coming towards an end very quickly and almost very suddenly as well. And in the end, we do have a lot of games left to go. We have around 8 games left to go, but it does feel like I'm seeing a deja vu every single game for the Chicago Bulls. I'm watching the same game over and over and over again. And in the end, I guess that could be seen as some sort of consistency, but in the end, there is still so much that we need to discuss for the Chicago Bulls. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls overall. Were we good enough to win today? I don't think, obviously, when we lose like we did, I don't think we were. And ultimately, what was the biggest, I guess, pet peeve in this game? What was the biggest annoyance in this game? Because again, I've already said mine. My biggest annoyance in this game was that it felt like I was watching the same game as against the Bucks, the same game as like against the Hawks. These games that are very similar to this one. The scoreline for this game was 106-94. Once again, the Chicago Bulls had one really bad quarter that took it away from us completely, and that was once again the first quarter. The first quarter for the Chicago Bulls was pretty much a 20-34 quarter, and that was by far the worst quarter of the game for us. And ultimately we picked things up. We had a much better fourth quarter, but it was too little too late by that point, and we struggled to really come back in this game until the fourth quarter. But in the end, this is a type of scenario where I've seen it all before. I don't need to go into why we were inconsistent. I don't need to go into the turnovers or anything like that. All I know is that once again, this team can't play 4 quarters. We are inconsistent within quarters, and we reflect that in our play and it reflects in our results. That's the only thing that needs to be said in terms of this game against the Philadelphia 76ers. But there are a few things to go into. First things first, this was not the best of games from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, and they kind of took a back seat and allowed other players to really step into the fray and take the light, and ultimately that is very upsetting to me. In the end, if we were going to lose, I would have liked to lose knowing that Joel Embiid was that guy that no one can stop on the offense, and that he was the one taking all the shots, and in the end, he's an all-star MVP level player, and we couldn't stop it. Not because Danny Green had made a lot of shots, or Seth Curry made a lot of shots, or Tobias Harris, even though to be fair, he is an all-star caliber in my eyes player, made a lot of shots. Ben Simmons didn't have a terrific game either until really he kind of came alive in the second half in many ways. So once again, these two players that, again, we didn't see Ben Simmons the first 2 games, I believe, with the Chicago Bulls and the Philadelphia 76ers. We saw Joel Embiid drop 50 last time. And again, to see him drop 13 and still we end up losing is quite upsetting. But again, it's a team game, I understand that, and of course the team stepped up in other areas where they did not, where they didn't need to. In the end, the best players don't always need to step up, and unfortunately we're not in that position where our best players don't need to step up, because the fact of the matter is we don't have a good enough team overall at this point for our best players to be missing, like Zach LaVine and Vucevic, or our best players that played in this game to not step up. And to be fair, I really thought Kobe White stepped up. I thought there were a few players that played decent games today, but once again, same old song and dance. Not enough people stepped up, and ultimately, this is the same game I've been watching for 3 games in a row now. This is the exact same game that I've been watching. So once again, we still have to move on. We have to keep being persistent. I still want to show fight in every single game. I still want to feel like this team is not trying to tank or not deliberately trying to lose. And to be honest, I'm conflicted in my mind on if that's exactly what's happening or not. And I don't want to say without a shadow of a doubt that it's happening, without a shadow of a doubt it's not happening. Because in the end, I just don't know. I really do not know, and I don't think I will know until maybe towards the last final 3-4 games of the season. We still have 8 games to go, so there is that chance. I don't know. I have been hearing rumors that this is the last game Zach LaVine will be out for. I don't know why Nikola Vucevic was out once again. Obviously, the aggravation seems to be still there. So again, I hope to see those 2 players play soon, because again, if we're not going to make the play-in tournament, the least I would want is to experiment with these 2 players. In the end, these 2 players are going to be the cornerstone of the Bulls going forward, most likely. We're probably going to keep Nikola Vucevic, and we're probably going to keep Zach LaVine. And in the end, we could build around those 2 guys, but those 2 guys are the cornerstone. So I'd like to see those 2 learn how to play with each other a little bit more. They've only really had a month together, and a month is just not enough time. In the end, we should have a lot more chemistry than what we have, but ultimately a month is just not enough to play together to get the right things in place to try and win games. And next season, we'll have a much better version of those 2 players, but ultimately, I would like to see those 2 experiment this season. I don't want to tank. I want those 2 players to play, and I want those 2 players to help us win the remaining games that we have. In the end, we can go to individual performers. First things first, Kobe White had 23 points, 5 assists and 2 rebounds. Kobe White, in my opinion, was our best player today. Again, there were some few solid performers for the Chicago Bulls in the starting lineup and off of the bench. There were a few players that played very well, but ultimately, Kobe White, in my opinion, was the best player with 23 and 5. And yeah, I think Kobe White stepped up a lot since Zach LaVine has been out. And he's had his fair share of games where he stepped up, and he has had his fair share of games where he's not really lived up to the hype. And again, this is the same old story with Kobe White, but I do have faith that he will be very good for this team going forward. Even coming off of the bench at one stage, I still have faith Kobe White will be very vital towards us, because he has the ability to score. And if you have the ability to score, I think you could do a lot in this league, because the playmaking is coming to him. Surely, slowly, the playmaking is coming to him. And overall, whether he starts next season as our starting point guard, or we acquire a point guard, or we draft a point guard, if there is a certain scenario where that is able to happen, I will be fine with that, because I know and still have faith that Kobe White, wherever he plays, whatever he's doing, starting or coming off the bench, I think he'll do very well for this team. Daniel Theis, 11 points and 8 rebounds. Solid night from Daniel Theis. Again, not really too much to complain about here. Thaddeus Young, 13 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Again, Thaddeus Young was a starter today. Obviously, his last game against Atlanta was miles better than this one. But again, he's been fairly consistent. I just think that he should be getting more rebounds, to be honest. It's the only thing that comes to mind when I'm talking about Thaddeus Young. But regardless of that, I think he's doing all right once again. Satoransky had 10 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. Coming off the bench, Satoransky was probably our best bench player today. Obviously, Javonte Green had some minutes in this game, and I thought he played very, very well. But regardless of that, I think Satoransky played very good as well in today's game. 10 points and 6 assists is nothing to really make fun of if you're a bench point guard. And again, I like Satoransky. I think he has a place on this team, but in the end, whatever the case may be, if he is going to be on the team or not, we'll have to wait and see in the future. But again, that is all I'm going to mention for this individual performers. I'm not going to go too much into this. Once again, when we lose, we don't break 100 points and we see the same old game. I don't like repeating myself. These players played good. These players played bad. Again, those are the players that I believe played well. Obviously, Patrick Williams had 5 points. Garrett Temple had 7 points. Larry Markkinen had 5 points. Denzel Valentine, I believe, had a decent game as well with 11 points, to be fair. And Al-Farouq Aminu played. Yeah, Arcidiacono played. Yeah. Anyway, my must improve is probably going to be, I think it's between Al-Farouq Aminu and Larry Markkinen, and I'm going to pick Larry Markkinen. I just don't think, again, he played 17 minutes today. 5 points and 4 rebounds is just not a good return for Larry Markkinen. And again, we've seen a lot of good things out of Larry Markkinen in the past 2 weeks. In the end, he has basically been playing a small forward in many ways for the Chicago Bulls, and he's taken advantage of that in his paint production. However, there needs to be a level of consistency with Larry Markkinen. And once again, he's been playing fairly okay for the last 2 weeks. I haven't been complaining about him. In fact, I think he's been our best bench player over the last 2 weeks. But today's game, hopefully it's a one-off, but today's game is a bad representation of what Larry Markkinen can be. And again, I don't know what his future is going to be. I truly don't. I don't know what the Bulls are thinking. I don't know what he's thinking. And I don't know what he expects in terms of money. But speaking based off a one-off game, this game was not a good game for Larry Markkinen, and I hope we can see a better version of him in the next one, and hopefully he can find some sort of consistency going forward wherever he plays next season and throughout his career. Consistency needs to be the norm for Larry Markkinen. And the player of the game will be Coby White for me. Again, he did 23 points and 5 assists in 29 minutes played. Let's be real here. He played probably, I think, the second most minutes. Daniel Theis played 40 minutes today. So in the end, I have to give credit for Daniel Theis for playing that amount of minutes. In the end, that's nearly all game. That really is nearly all game. Basically, he didn't even have a quarter's worth of rest. That's ridiculous to think about. And again, you don't see that from a player like Daniel Theis. You usually see that from Zach LaVine or Nikola Vucevic. Your better players would be playing the most minutes. That's basically how it should be in many ways. But Daniel Theis played 40 minutes today. And I thought he did very well. But Coby White, in terms of his stats and in terms of his production of the game, I thought he played decently. Again, I don't know his shooting percentage in today's game, but ultimately, I think he was probably the best player on the team today. Again, you could give it to Daniel Theis if you want. I don't think Daniel Theis is a statistical player, so many people might give that to him because I don't think stats define how good Daniel Theis is. The Bulls' record is 26-39. We are slowly and surely ending our season. And again, every single game is important for this team. And unfortunately, we are on a 3-game losing streak now. And this is not the time nor the place to be on a losing streak. And we still remain 12th in the East. Of course, when you lose your games, you're not going to move up in the standings. So 12th is pretty much where we sit now. I still think we can go to 11th. But ultimately now, we are, I think, 4 games away from the 10th seed. So let's be real, guys. We have 8 games remaining. We need to win 4 games to make the play-in. We've got the Brooklyn Nets twice. We've got Boston. We've got the Bucks. I mean, I don't really know what else to tell you guys. I think it's over. I truly think it's over. I think our season is over. And again, believe if you want to believe. I hope that ends up working out well for you. But I think our season is probably over. We have to be realistic on that situation. And that's our record, 26-39, 4 games away. It's just not right, is it? It's just not the best case scenario for us. Our next game is against the Charlotte Hornets. Again, every single game now is must win. If we ever had that chance, we need to win every single game going forward. The Charlotte Hornets is a game I think we can win. We've beaten them twice this season. I don't know if they have Gordon Hayward back or not, but they do have LaMelo Ball back, and he's been vital towards their team. So that's going to be very interesting to see what the Bulls can come up with in that game. And ultimately, this is a very important game for this season as well. And obviously, if we are to win all of our games coming up, again, hypotheticals here, we're not going to, let's be honest. But if we did win all of our games, I would feel very confident, but I just don't think we have enough to do it. So this Charlotte Hornets game is a must win. We shall wait and see if the Bulls will come out and win. And ultimately, I think our season is already over, but this game could pull the nail in the coffin for many other people. So we shall wait and see what happens with that. Again, this experiment has been up and down. I think that's safe to say. And we'll be talking a lot about that. Again, once this season is over, we'll be going into discussion videos. We'll be talking about the season, talking about our players, talking about hypotheticals and trades and free agency. All of that will come in the near future. But our season is slowly beginning to end. And this experiment that we saw very early on at the beginning of the season, we are slowly starting to see it end. And hopefully this front office knows what to do from here. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video against the Charlotte Hornets. Stay safe, stay healthy. I'll see you in another video. Take care.